frozen.
No, we're good, we're good. Okay, so we're ready. All right, guys. So we had to do what? Okay, so for my speech class, we have another speech that we're having to do, and it's a informative speech. And the purpose of an informative speech is to inform. So the topic I picked was global deforestation on endangered species and the environment. And I'll have a couple other points to talk about as well. Let's see, so my thesis statement is that global deforestation has had several negative effects on endangered species and our environment, including the releasing of carbon emissions, greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, pressuring wild animals to exit their natural habitats, and moving closer to human populations, and soil erosion and coastal flooding. Okay. Did you know that 1.5 acres of forest are cut down every second? Did you know that it's estimated within 100 years there will be no more rainforest left on this earth? This is interesting because the research I'll reference in my speech supports these statistics and are some consequences of deforestation on our environment. I know that the destruction of forests around the world is a serious issue and is something that is contributing to climate change in a negative way. Even though our generation won't necessarily be affected by these issues, our kids and future generations will be impacted the greatest, and it's important for humans to do as much as we can to take care of our habitat and our environment. In order to understand what deforestation is and its impact on endangered species, we need to learn about the releasing of carbon emissions, and greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Okay, so for our first point, carbon emissions and greenhouse gases. To give some background info and to define the term deforestation is defined as the purposeful clearing of forested land. It is the mass destruction of trees, and this has been going on for years. Trees and other plants absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere as they grow. This is converted into carbon and stored in the plant's branches, leaves, trunks, roots, and in the soil. When forests are cut down, stored carbon is released into the atmosphere mainly as carbon dioxide. And this is the carbon emission. One of the more alarming statistics that I found is that between 1990 and 2016, the world lost 502,000 square miles of forest. How this relates to climate change is that when we cut down trees, it adds carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and removes the ability for other trees to absorb this carbon dioxide. And this is one of the more important functions that the trees provide to our ecosystem. Okay. Whoops. Sorry. Now that we have looked at the fact that deforestation causes carbon emissions and greenhouse gases, let's look at some of the ways that species are impacted by this. So a bunch of different types of wild animals' habitats can be affected by deforestation. And this is something that we might not necessarily think of as humans when it comes to this. When we do this, this causes animals to migrate closer to human populations, which puts their livelihood even more at risk and could result in the elimination of their species. In addition to this, deforestation on wildlife's natural habitats forces disease-carrying animals closer to humans, which allows infectious diseases to spread and thrive even more than they did around animals. It is important to keep us separated from animals because we can prevent new strains of viruses and diseases to humans when they're in the population. For example, bats are less likely to transmit viruses to humans when they're in wild habitats, but land conversion increases their exposure to humans and up the chances of virus transmission. For example, COVID-19, that was thought that bats were a carrier of that virus and transmitted to humans. And as you can see, I have a few examples of other animals that can be impacted by this. A lot of these animals live in Africa and stuff like that. first we have orangutans, and orangutans give birth every 3 to 5 years, and it can make it difficult to recover from population decline because they don't have an area to reside and have birth. Yes. And same with giant pandas. If you didn't know already, like the diet of a panda is like a lot of bamboo, and obviously bamboo is connected to trees, and they can eat about 24 to 84 pounds of bamboo per day. Let's see, what else do we have? We have elephants as well that can be impacted by this. The elephants rely on like literally just the land for food, and with the forest constantly shrinking, it can make them difficult for them to find shelter. Same with sloths. I didn't know this about sloths, but sloths literally only leave trees like when they go use the bathroom. I don't know where they use the bathroom at, but they go back to their trees and they just hang around them all the time. What else do we have? Okay, so now that we have looked at the impact that deforestation has on animals' natural habitats and living spaces, we can look at some more natural things that can happen as a result of this. Let's see. So erosion and flooding may be an effect that we don't necessarily think of when it comes to deforestation. Erosion is a natural process that occurs in every environment, and soil erosion occurs due to flow of water and soil degradation. Soil degradation can be then caused by deforestation and a few other processes. Erosion exposes soil to rain splash, which loosens and dislodges soil particles. And because of the nature of heavy rainfall in rainforests and other biomes, this can be pretty destructive in the rainforest, and the flow of water can be uncontrollable. Top layer instability results in increased surface runoff. This can result in flooding and forces animals out of their natural habitats, which is like a whole cycle, which can be problematic. The continued loss of soil can also result in ultimate desertification. When you cut down trees, you just cut down like habitats for animals. Okay, so in conclusion, deforestation has had several negative effects and has impacted many different endangered species and their environments. We have learned more about the releasing of carbon emissions and greenhouse gases, wild animals exiting their natural habitats, and soil erosion and mass flooding. Understanding the concept of deforestation is important, because if we as humans don't stop cutting down trees, more than half our plant and animal species will go extinct in hundreds of years. Trees take an important role in the storage of carbon dioxide for other forms of life in the forest. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, it says that deforestation is the second leading cause of climate change. It accounts for 20% of greenhouse gas and carbon dioxide emissions. In order to stop deforestation and save our forests, there are a few things we can do to help. We can recycle anything, plastic, paper, cardboard. I try to do as much as I can. Reduce meat consumption, conserve the burning of firewood when you can't. All these little things can help grow our forests and make sure that our animals will have a comfortable place to live. Yeah. Keeping forests intact also helps prevent flooding and drought by regulating regional rainfall. I hope I've kept you well informed in this topic, and hopefully you know a little bit more about the importance that trees play in our daily lives. References there.